And good evening, everybody. I hope that you can all hear me okay. Really excited to do another live stream. Happy to see all of you join us today. We've got a lot to talk about. It's been a crazy week over here at BTG, but we have a number of topics that we want to discuss. And we're going to talk about the range increase that just happened, and I'm seeing a lot of people are getting that. We just posted a video this evening, an hour ago. We finally got our software update and we're able to get additional range. So it's exciting to see what everybody's getting in range with this new update. I've seen as much as 13, which is pretty cool, and then as low as 7. So it seems to be all over the place, which isn't a surprise given how the estimated range is calculated in your car. So if you haven't received it yet, keep a lookout for that software update because it is coming, and it looks like today was a big day for a big push on that software update. And just a quick note about that, on Friday when people were getting the initial update on that software update, it was 40.7. It's now 40.8. So my best guess is they rolled out a small portion and made some final tweaks. And then here today, they're rolling out 40.8 to the masses. So you should be receiving that very soon. And yes, boiler, the you know what up, of course, boiler up, go Purdue. We're also going to talk about the Model X and the Cybertruck a little bit. We did a poll this week, so we'll come back to that. And then last week, I asked questions about if you haven't already bought an EV, what are some of the things that are holding you up, and what are some of the concerns that prevent you from taking the leap to getting to an EV? So we have some pretty interesting questions that were brought up from that, and we'll be talking through those as well. And I'm also excited to give you a first look at our new logo. So we've been working with a graphic designer for a while now on getting a logo for the channel. So I'm very, very, very excited to share that with you. I'll give you guys a sneak peek at where we're at and what it potentially is going to look like. So very exciting stuff there. Also on Friday, our video will be talking about we'll be talking about road noise in the Tesla Model Y. We saw some reports of people complaining about road noise in their Tesla Model Y. And although we are not affected, it seems like there is a split. So that video is coming up Friday. I accidentally released it for maybe 3 seconds on accident. So I pulled that off. Somebody did catch it though. So you guys are quick, you guys are good, but that will be on Friday. And then finally, we'll talk about a new feature on the channel with channel memberships and just kind of talk about what that's all about. So I'm trying to debate if I want to talk about the elephant in the room first, or if I should hold off a little bit. Sunday was a pretty hectic day over here, and I would say it wasn't the best day on this channel, but I think we'll come back to that because I want to talk about the good stuff first. So I would love to hear from you guys. Have you had your software update? If you have, put in the comments what your range increase was. And if you have not done it yet, go into your app, increase your charge rate to 100%, and note down what that range is. And then after the update, what's that new number? So that's how you're going to be able to tell if you have how much additional range you got from this update, which is pretty freaking awesome. So I sent a poll out on the Model X or the Cybertruck. So come 2022, we're going to be in the market for another car. And we've been back and forth on the Cybertruck, potentially a Model X. I think at this time we are definitely going to continue to be a Tesla family because of the infrastructure. There's no other feasible EV to travel across the country in. If you've been around for this channel for a while, we love road trips. So having that charging infrastructure and being able to fast charge is critical. We do like the Model X. It's very comfortable, but there are some things that we don't like about it. Like the Falcon doors seem silly and excessive. But at the same time, flipping over to the Cybertruck, which we're getting a lot of updates on lately, that is going to be exciting. We actually came from a truck. We are truck people. We like to do truck stuff. So The Cybertruck is interesting. I think on paper, it's amazing. 500 plus miles of range, 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds, 14,000 pounds of towing. It's just so much stuff. And then to top it all off, a 6-passenger interior. And looking at the pictures, it's hard to tell without seeing it in person, but it looks like it's very spacious. And if you've been in a recent full-size truck, you know how much space is in pickup trucks these days. So the interior is almost giving you the space of an SUV, plus with the vault on the back, you have a locked, secured tailgate. So you can have the tailgate for traditional truck stuff, but you can also lock it with that vault, which makes it an interesting proposition. Now, of course, the downfall is it's ugly, so ugly. I like the front end with the beam of light going around the sides. I think that's pretty cool. The back end looks okay, but when you look at it from the side, it just, man, it looks exactly like those wedges that your teacher used to shove under the door to keep the door open back in the day. So it just does not look good. But I do like the idea of it because on paper, there's nothing like what the Cybertruck is going to be. And it's going to be made in Texas, which is pretty cool. Makes a lot of sense to build it there. So the factory seems to be rolling quickly. In addition, it looks like Giga Berlin is actually chugging along at a crazy pace, which is awesome for you European folks because that Model Y there is going to be the first Tesla to be featured with these new battery cells. So very exciting to see how that rolls out and how that does. So we'll just have to wait and see what that ends up being. Are we going to get substantially more range, or more likely, are we going to have less battery cells and a lower price with the new battery cells? So a lot to be learned from the Tesla Model Y in Europe. So very excited to see the progress in Giga Berlin as well. So I wanted to talk about, I put out a poll to see just what you guys thought about Cybertruck versus Model X. And the last I checked, it was 62% of you said Cybertruck and 38% said Model X. And I guess I'm not surprised. The Model X has been out for a while, needs a refresh. And I think in the next couple of years, we'll finally get a refresh. The crazy thing is, though, with the refresh, will it come with the new batteries? And if so, what kind of range do you think that they'll be able to pull in the Tesla Model X to keep it relevant? So I think that there's a lot of exciting things to come with the Model X, with a nice refresh to update it as well. So some folks brought up some questions about what's holding them up from pivoting to going EV. I think that it's obvious what some of the benefits are from that. But one of the big ones that popped up several times was about charging at home and the cost of installing chargers and infrastructure to do that. And in our video where my wife joined us, we talked about, I was so obsessed with getting a wall charger, and but it didn't take long to realize you don't need a wall charger. In fact, we just have a 240 outlet installed in our garage, and with a $35 adapter, your mobile connector that comes with the car gives you 29 miles of range per hour, which has always been sufficient. So for those of you concerned about the cost of getting that charging infrastructure in your garage, it's really not that expensive. I think we paid like $200 to have an electrician add that. Now, we had a slot that we could utilize, so perhaps if your panel doesn't have the space, there's additional costs, of course, but you don't have to get a home charger. You don't have to get the connector that goes on the wall for $500 plus the install. You can utilize what your car comes with when you buy it new, which is great. Another thing that was interesting that somebody brought up was repairability at home. I'm an automotive guy, grew up in an automotive family, and it's been interesting to see. I've always loved working on cars, and I like working on them in the garage. But with a Tesla, there's not much you can really tinker with. And even if you could, you probably shouldn't, because you're talking about a lot of current of electricity. So I think that that's a fair point. But at the same time, it's nice because here we are 3 years after the Model 3. We're here coming up on, 8 years of the Model S, 9 years on the Model S. So we're getting a lot of cars that are starting to show some pretty substantial mileage, which is really encouraging, and it's showing a lot of the durability of the car. I think some of the cosmetic stuff, of course, could be improved, but the battery packs are lasting substantially longer than anybody expected. And I think the motors, they have really done a great job over the years, from the initial Model S to really perfecting those motors and making them very reliable and good long-lasting motors. So I think from a reliability standpoint, I think that Tesla is really proving that you can get an EV and you can be reliable over time. Now, that said, there's not a lot of service centers across the country. So if something does go wrong, there's a lot of people who may be several hours away from a service center. And on top of that, because there's so few, and now we have mass market cars in the Model 3 and Model Y out, the wait to get service can be frustrating and does for sure take some time. So you got to take the good with the bad. You know, this Tesla model is starting to ramp up and become a mass market product. So there's going to be some growing pains with that for sure. And then tires. On our 10,000 mile review that we did, you know, a few weeks ago, I think we're down to 6 millimeters on the tires. So we're at half life already. If we get 25,000 miles, I'm hoping that's what we'll get out of these. I think that'll be about as far as we can go. So these are not cheap tires. The specific tires on your Model Y, at least on the induction wheels, those are specifically made for the Model Y. So they're special order, they're specially manufactured, and uber expensive. The thing is, a lot of tire manufacturers are coming up with new tires that are starting to filter out to help bring that cost down a little bit. So hopefully in the near future, be able to start taking a look at some of those tires and finding a good alternative for hopefully half the price. But even at half the price, that's $800 for a set of tires. So, and if you're doing that every 25,000 miles, that adds up pretty quickly. So definitely the highest cost of operating this car will be those tires. So, and then the charging infrastructure for non-Teslas is another thing that we've already mentioned. But you know, if you're not in a Tesla, being able to travel 1,000 miles and being able to do that quickly and reasonably just isn't possible today. A lot of the cars that are being released are still at that 200, 250 miles of range, and there's not like Tesla charging network that's available today for, you know, the rest of EVs. And you know, these manufacturers made that decision. Tesla, I think they did a fantastic job of building a moat, a competitive moat, by having that supercharging network. And the other manufacturers are just not interested in spending the capital to build up that infrastructure. So hopefully long term, we have a universal setup across the country, and we will get there. It's just unfortunate that these companies are relying on the government to help pave the way for them to sell cars. Unlike Tesla, who just said, what's the obstacle? Okay, here's the solution, let's implement. And then people will buy the car. So I think they did a fantastic job of doing it and really set the standard and the example. Now that said, it sounds like Ford is considering building something like this. Will it be to the same scale as Tesla? I hope so. Anything that can be done to continually make EVs more accessible, whether it's price or charging speed or charging infrastructure, that is great for all of us, regardless of what the car is and who makes it. Competition will always end in us getting a better product. So right now, Tesla can get away with some things that most manufacturers can't, and it's because it's the only compelling EV on the market right now for people who like to travel anyways. So I think that's where we're at today. And then another question that was popped up was about paying that higher initial cost versus the cost savings of operating an EV. And I think that that's a very fair point. In today's prices, it's very hard to recoup that initial cost that you're paying for a Tesla Model Y, as an example. $50,000 versus, say, a Camry, a nice, well-equipped Camry, or something that's in a reasonable size comparison to a Tesla Model Y. I don't think you're going to be able to overcome that initial cost today. Now, when the 4680 cells come out, who knows what's going to happen? Prices are going to continue to go down, range is going to continue to go up. So what's nice to see is after Battery Day, that acceleration that Tesla forecasted for developing batteries for price and batteries for range. So yeah, I think that this is great, and it's going to be awesome for the future for all of us. So anyways, that's kind of the rundown there. Now I do want to share, hopefully you guys will be able to see this okay, but I want to share with you something pretty exciting, and it is a picture of our potential logo on the channel. So we've been working with a family friend. She's a graphic designer, and we had some ideas of initial concept, and I think we're on like Rev 3-ish right now. So let's just take a quick look, and I'll share with you. Hopefully you guys can see that, but that's kind of what we're looking at. That's potentially what our final logo is going to look like. So we're kind of excited. You guys are getting a sneak peek and a quick look that won't be shared until it's finalized. So that's it. I'm pretty excited about it. I hope that you guys like it. I think it's pretty awesome personally, but I'm biased. So yeah, so that's our logo. I do want to scroll back though and catch up on some of these comments. And again, I do want to highlight Boiler Up for sure. Thank you. And so the question about how do you know whether you're going to get a 2020 or a 2021? And it looks like everybody that's been taking delivery moving forward is getting a 2021. So somewhere around the 60 to 65 VIN range is when things switched over to 2021. So they're already delivering 2021s. The only way you would not get a 2021 is if they had a car that they were working on, or it just, for whatever reason, didn't deliver and they never matched it again. You may get matched with a 2020. And if that's the case, I would just have a conversation of how you can overcome that to get a 2021. But chances are you're getting a 2021 if you haven't received your car now. You're 90+% going to be getting a 2021. All that's going to do, 2021 versus 2020, is it's just going to say 2021. Everything else is exactly the same. Same range, same batteries, same everything. There's no center console update in the 2021 for the Tesla Model Y yet. So we'll see when those updates finally make their way down. So so when it says that regen is reduced, it's usually because the batteries aren't warmed up yet. So when you get in your car and it's cold outside, that battery pack's got to warm up before it can truly give you that full regen potential. And the first time it happens to you, it will catch you off guard, especially if you have it set on standard and you're utilizing that for most of your braking almost all the time. So when it's cold, you got to start remembering to keep your foot near the brake pedal when you're coming to a stop. But good question. Yes, I get that all the time. And it's awesome. Somebody got their VIN. Marvin, you got your VIN. That's pretty cool. So yeah, Service Center for Fixes, hopefully they'll update with the new version. Hopefully that'll happen. I've dropped my car off and had a software update push, and then they shut my car off so I couldn't access it. And when I got it back, they did not install the update. So don't count on them doing the update for you, just FYI. And it's awesome. So 9 more miles for you. That's pretty awesome. So somebody's getting tint and PPF, which is pretty awesome. You'll have to share some pictures on Facebook of that if you're on the Facebook group. So I like looking at all the people who are getting tint. I've had an opportunity to get the car tinted a couple times and I've held off. But I'm really thinking about buying a DIY kit just to share and show you guys. It's like $40 for just the front 2 windows to get 2 pre-cuts. I have no idea if they're any good. I've never installed tint before, but I'm really thinking about doing that. The only thing I don't like about it is they charge like $10 for shipping. So if it wasn't for that, I probably would have already got it by now. But I'm thinking about getting window tint pre-cuts, sharing it on the channel, and seeing if it's worth it to save. I don't know. I think the best quote I got, I was between $80 and $150 were the low end of the quotes that I received to have somebody come out and do it. So there's some money to be saved there. Not a ton, but there's definitely some money to save there. So Electric clothes dryer. Yes, you could actually, if you, in a pinch, you can use your clothes dryer outlet. It's the same outlet, it's a 240 outlet to plug in your mobile connector. Now that would be a hell of an extension cord unless your dryer's in the garage. So you'd probably lose some current across that kind of a distance. But anyways, yeah, 1450 is definitely a way to go. $400 for installation and equipment for this guy. I mean, like I said, I paid 200, so 200, $400 is extremely reasonable. It doesn't have to cost you a lot of money to get charging and set up at your house. So yeah, pretty awesome. So let's see here. I'm glad that you guys like the logo. I like the logo. I'm really excited about it. It's something that I've been wanting to add on the channel to make it feel just a little bit more complete as a freaking logo. So I'm very, very excited about the logo. We have some small tweaks to do, and then hopefully in like a week's time, you'll start seeing the logo on the channel. You'll see it on Twitter and Instagram and all that stuff. So yeah, I'm really excited to get that out there, and I won't be sharing that anywhere else except for what I just shared with you guys. So you guys are the only ones outside of my family who have seen it. So I'm glad that you guys like it as well. Door with sticking out a bit when closed. I don't have any door issues with alignment at all. So if you are having that issue, that's something that they can fix at the service center. You should probably get that scheduled sooner than later because they get backlogged. And with all the deliveries they did last quarter, I promise you they are super backlogged. So you might want to get that scheduled sooner than later. So the Model 3 center console, I don't think you're going against the grain by saying you don't like it. So when I saw the first pictures of it, the first thing that popped into my head was the center console in our previous car, which was a Chrysler Pacifica. It was a minivan. It is like the same shape, style of that center console. And I was like, what is that? But what was hilarious in my mind was all this time, everybody's talking and complaining about this gloss center console. Gosh, Tesla, you need to fix this. You need to change it. And then as soon as they release the new center console, now everybody's like, oh no, let's go back. Let's go back. So it's kind of funny how that ended up working out, but I thought it was funny as hell. Anyways, it's grown on me actually. Somebody from China leaked some video of it. I think it looks a little bit better in person than it did just in the picture. So I think it's okay. Losing the lid for the phones, I leave mine up, so that doesn't bother me. It was nice to see. It almost looks like it's kind of a felt material that you place your phone in now, which is kind of nice. But from a functionality standpoint, it's actually a little bit nicer than the setup that's in there now. It just doesn't look as nice, if that makes sense. That's just my opinion, though. But I don't think you're going against the grain. I think a lot of people don't really like the center console. I hope that your mind will be changed when you see it in person, though, because my assumption is that's going to make its way into the Tesla Model Y. I don't know why it wouldn't. It's the same dimensions, the same setup. There's no reason it shouldn't make its way over into the Tesla Model Y. So I would anticipate that coming. So if you don't like it, you might want to get your Model Y sooner than later so you don't have to worry about that. So anyways, so you got it adjusted, it still sticks out. I keep pestering them until they get it right, just to be honest with you. With these service centers, you've got to stay on top of them. I don't know why this is an area that Tesla just can't get right. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to throw shade at the service centers too much, but if I was to choose between an X and a Y, which one would I choose? A Y 100%. And this is why, at least for now, the Tesla Model Y has the newest tech, it charges faster, and you have just about as much space at a substantially less cost. The only way I would consider an X is if price didn't matter. Other than that, there's no way. Even if price did matter, I would probably lean towards a Y anyways. So the newest update, I believe you get 200, maybe 225 kilowatt hour charge rate at with the brand new Tesla Model X, where you can get 250 kilowatt hour charge rate with the Tesla Model Y. It's just the technology is better, the autopilot system is better. It's just newer technology in the Y. You're more future-proof in the Model Y than you are on the X. And the X is due for an update, so I believe they'll overcome those in the next update. So hopefully that is a fair answer to that question. Anyways, so anyway, the mud flaps, I did find some mud flaps. A company did reach out. After the 10,000 mile review, actually a subscriber commented that, hey, there actually is a mud flap available for the Tesla Model Y. I knew nothing about it. It's a company in Canada. They make these mud flaps, and they ended up sending me a set. I have not installed them yet, and I'm kind of torn. I don't want to make it sound bad, but they're not the nicest. I don't like the look of them. They're very basic. They're very practical and functional, and for it being the only option available right now, they work, but that's about it. They don't look good. They look like they install pretty easily, so I'm sure we'll install them at some point and share that with you guys, because winter is coming, and if you're farther north, you're definitely going to want to protect the side of this car. Because if you have your Tesla Model Y, you know how much stuff is being thrown up at the doors, specifically in the rear of your car. So to avoid salt just beating up the paint on the side of your car, you're probably going to want to consider something, even if it's only for the winter, to protect it. So more on that soon, probably. I'll probably be getting that up. So would I go with white seats if I could order again? Have I complained about it enough in my videos? Absolutely, I would. White interior is so amazing. If you haven't seen it in person, or if you're on the fence about it, freaking go for it. It was fun. Somebody on Instagram tagged us taking delivery of their Model Y, and they said they weren't sure until the video where my wife and I sat and talked about it, and they said they just went for it like we suggested, and they're so happy that they did, and I'm so happy for them. If those white seats are just freaking amazing, and if I had the white seats, I would already know what product to put on them to keep them protected. Totally worth it. Go with the white seats. I wish I could, and we've even considered selling the car and getting a new car with a different exterior and the white interior. But oh man, so yeah, white interior for sure. I do want a Cybertruck. I hate to say it, but I kind of do. It's just so ugly. I just feel like you'd be sitting at a stoplight and you're just asking people to like look and judge the hell out of you if you're sitting in a Cybertruck. The other thing too, the steering wheel is nowhere near practical, and I would not like driving the Cybertruck with the current steering wheel. But you know, I'm assuming since that's illegal to have that steering wheel on the roads, that they'll have to address that with a real steering wheel. So hopefully that obstacle will be overcome with a normal steering wheel in it. But I guess time will tell. So one of the notes, my first topic on this list was about Jeeps and the video, and so we'll talk about it real quick, and then we'll be done with it. So Sunday, we were having a really nice evening here at the BTG household. We had just finished dinner. We were all relaxing, and then my phone started blowing up from people messaging me and tagging me and tweeting me, and it brought me to this video. And I tried very hard not to respond. I tried to ignore it, but my phone just kept lighting up. And you know, I really want this channel to grow, and I want to have success on this platform. But that said, we will never grow this channel at the expense of anybody else ever. We are not about that. We don't do stuff like that here. And I know that I've never heard of this guy before. I've never seen his videos. It's not like we were drinking buddies or something like that. And he's reached out a couple times, said he was just joking, which is cool. I just, you know, it didn't feel very good being the butt of somebody's joke. And ultimately, that's kind of what we addressed it with. Is I did leave a comment finally after a few hours of collecting myself. You know, it didn't feel very good being the butt of somebody's joke. And but like I said, we're Midwest people. We don't do stuff like that here. So we will not be doing stuff like that on this channel. That's not what we're about. And I was definitely disappointed to see it. I was embarrassed. My wife and I were both kind of embarrassed. It didn't feel good. So I apologize, but you know, a number of people reached out in support, and I really I want to thank you to those of you who did. It meant a lot, and yeah, so that's really about all I have to say about that. I don't really have anything else to say about that. I don't wish any ill will on anybody. Other than that, I think his video was pretty enjoyable. He's a pretty funny guy, it seems like. His sense of humor is very specific, and I think he'll fill a niche very well. So good for him, and I hope that they enjoy whatever it is they do. I just hope that maybe they'll leave us out of their videos in the future. So anyways, enough about that. Let's get back to happier notes anyways, I want to give a shout out to Tim Begonia. He reached out recently. He's a graphic designer, and you may have started to notice some changes on the channel over the last couple of days, and he really helped a lot with bringing our channel up a notch, specifically with thumbnails. We're working on some other things, but he really helped to kind of create a more consistent image. So you'll start to see more consistency in our thumbnails. It's an area that I kind of struggle with, I guess. I do the best that I can, but I'm really excited and grateful that he was willing and offering to help. So shout out to Tim. Thank you so much. I think that all these little things combined will help to make this channel continue to grow and flourish, and hopefully bring you more valuable content, better content, things that you can enjoy a little bit better. So thanks to Tim for all that he did to help us. So anyway, so back to some of the questions here. The mud flaps that I talked about do not require drilling. I don't believe that they do. They line up with the OEM holes perfectly, and they provide you with different clips. So you're going to actually replace the clips. There's a process to heat them up a little bit, I guess. But I don't believe you have to drill anything with those mud flaps. So again, I think it's EV mud flaps or something. I should have wrote that down. They're in Canada. It's the only ones I'm aware of right now. But again, they're a flat piece of rubberized plastic, something in between there, and it's a very basic shape, but they're about $130 for a set of them. So again, I'll provide more information on that on the channel, and we'll probably go ahead and install those just so that you guys can see what it looks like. I'll give my honest opinion on them, of course, and you can make some decisions of your own, especially as we're starting to round out the year into winter. So but thank you guys for the support. I appreciate it. I won't be talking about the video any longer, but yeah, thank you guys. I think that's pretty much all that we had to cover today, and I wanted to take the opportunity to give some updates. Like I said, it was a pretty rough weekend over here, and I wanted to share that with everybody. Oh, last thing. So how do I plan on washing the car in the winter? It's a great question. So we just did a ceramic coat on the car. Actually, we did it a while back, but one of the benefits of doing a ceramic coat, now there's going to be a million opinions on this, and everybody's entitled to their own opinion. You can do what you think is best for you. Once you install a ceramic coat, you have a protective layer on your car. Even with that protective layer, it's not recommended that you go to a car wash. But I'm a father, we have 2 young children, we have a busy life. I don't have time to hand wash it every time. And as we start to come into winter, it's not practical. You can't really hand wash your car here in Indiana in the wintertime. So we have a car wash very close by, and with that ceramic coat, I have yet to see a scratch on the car. Now, it is a white car, so it hides scratches pretty well, but we roll that bad boy straight through the car wash. Make your own decision on that, but I think that that is a very reasonable thing for most people to expect to be able to do. So there's that. We wash it in the car wash, which is a very nice luxury to have, I suppose. Plus they have like a subscription model, so we just roll up and drive through. We don't have to pay every time, which is really nice. So anyways, how was it going from a Jeep sitting taller to the Y? We didn't have a Jeep. We've had Jeeps in the past, but we can't. This car replaced a Pacifica, and then the other car was a truck. So that definitely sat higher. It's definitely lower. I mean, you don't sit as high as most SUVs or anything. And if anybody tells you the Y is an SUV, it's not an SUV. It's kind of a CUV at most, but it does not sit as low as the Model 3. And as a matter of fact, the height of the car is almost perfect. I guess that would be height dependent, but for us, you kind of just slide right into the car. You're not really like sitting way down to get in the car. And if you have kids, this is where it's best, is like putting the kids in. You're not like bending over super far. You're not really like lifting up really high. It's a great height. I really like the height of the car. I think it's a good compromise between a larger SUV and a smaller sedan like a Model 3 that sits down super low. Adam Ogan, thanks so much for the super chat. Really appreciate it. We appreciate that very much. And it says that the wash or whatever in the car washes may have. So yeah, so that's I'm glad you brought that up about the car wash. So another thing, do not drive your car through a car wash until you ceramic coat it. One of the reasons is the black trim. I've seen countless people that gets like it's almost like it starts to corrode, and it's having a reaction with some of the really harsh cleaning chemicals and detergents. And so keep that in mind. If you don't protect it, and a ceramic coat will do a fantastic job protecting it, that will happen to your car. With the chrome trim, there were no issues. Chrome is extremely durable against corrosives. But in car washes, that will have an impact. The package that we use here, they had 3 levels, and the basic wash is very mild chemicals, and we've never had an issue with it. Now, again, we do have a ceramic coat on it as well, so that helps to really protect it. So once you put that ceramic coat on all the trim, you don't have to worry about anything anymore. Even with your own hand washing at home, you can use the chemicals that you're used to and whatever you want, and it should be well protected. So you can check out that video if you want to do it yourself. Otherwise, it's $600 to $800, sometimes $1,000 to have a professional ceramic coat your car. So something to consider. At minimum, I would recommend ceramic coating your car, whether you do it yourself or you pay a professional to do it, whatever you feel most comfortable with. It's really not hard to do it yourself, though. Again, we have a video on it. You can check it out, but it's not bad. Did we ever debate the performance versus the long range? 100% we debated it. The performance is here's the problem with the performance. So this car is a daily driver. It's a commuter car. The Model Y Performance, you cannot get the non-performance upgrade package anymore. So you have to have the performance suspension. You have to have the 21-inch wheels. It gives it a much harsher ride, and we're in it for comfort. That said, 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds is freaking ridiculous. You are extremely unlikely to find another car at a red light that you can't beat going 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds. And I'm not condoning racing, but I'm just saying it's stupid fast, and it's so awesome. And yes, we kick ourselves. Now, if you ask my wife the question, she just wants the red calipers, and that's why she wants the performance. She doesn't care about the 0 to 60, but for 10 grand, I think I can paint the calipers, which I've promised her I'll do. So at some point, I got to live up to that promise so she can have red calipers. So anyways, yes, we have considered it. And even in the talks about, hey, I really wish we would have got the white interior. I really wish we had the trailer hitch. I really wish we didn't have the white exterior. You know, should we just sell this and get another car? If we do that, should we get the performance model? Maybe, maybe not, I don't know. So we've considered it several times getting the performance. And if you can afford it and you're on the fence, I say go for it, but understand your commute, how you're driving, who's going to be in the car with you, because it is going to be a harsher ride, no question about it. So just keep that in mind of what's the practical use of the car most of the time, and would that bother you? If it doesn't bother you and you live in California or somewhere where the winter doesn't destroy your roads, maybe it's totally worth it and you wouldn't notice anyways. So keep that in mind. People who go once in a while, I don't think will notice, but for users like yourself, your family who have subscription to cars, it really takes away that option. I can't not just have the subscription to the car wash. It's just too convenient, and it just helps to keep the car clean and very little effort, and I don't have to take time away from the family activities that we have going on. And so, you know, ceramic coat the car, it's protected, drive it through the car wash. If we get a scratch here and there, we get a scratch here and there. I've got more opportunity for scratches with my children than I do from the car wash. So it is what it is. $1,000 for ceramic coat. I know I think it's like $600-700 around here. So I'm not surprised to hear it's $1,000 a ceramic coat in California in the Bay Area. Makes total sense. So it's so much money. The DIY kits that are coming out are just, they're so good. They're not commercial grade, but they're still very, very good. And I think, you know, if you weren't lugging a camera around, you could probably ceramic coat your car in 45 minutes to an hour, honestly. And then the next day, another 45 minutes to an hour. So, you know, a couple hours all in over the course of a couple of days. It's easy money to save. I think the ceramic coat that we used was $150. The coupon code, it's like $140. So something to really consider if you have access to a reasonable space to do that. So the Model Ys, absolutely, they've got the wireless chargers, right, where the cell phones go, both sides charge. We're getting ready to do an accessory video, though, and we have a new accessory that I actually really enjoy. I basically have been waiting and kind of holding off on making final decisions on some of the accessories that we really wanted. And so I finally pulled the trigger, and I was on Amazon, and I went ahead and bought a bunch of stuff. So I'm really excited for when we'll showcase that. But one of the things that we bought, it holds a phone as well, and that phone holder is wireless charger too, and it's got like an automatic open and close, and it grips. It does all kinds of cool stuff. So be on the lookout for that. I think that's a cool feature to add to your car. One of the things I wish that the Tesla Model Y had was a place to put your sunglasses. So I've now solved that problem. Rather than just putting them in the center console, I've got a nice spot for them to keep them better protected than mashing around in the center console. So I think that one's pretty cool, and I'm excited to share that with you. Android and iPhone compatible, of course, and that's both plugging it into, streaming to, and the wireless charging. They both work. Now, there are some aftermarket ones that add a third charger, so you can have two on the sides, or you can lay one all the way across, which is pretty cool, and it also apparently will charge your AirPods. So if you are constantly charging AirPods and things like that, there are some aftermarket options that you might want to consider that would add more capability to your wireless charging in your car, which is pretty neat. So something to think about. And yeah, I mean, the big wheels in Indiana, I mean, forget it. There's potholes galore, and we're coming up on winter now, so not going to be much that we can do to really protect the wheels. And going to 21s would be even worse with the performance. But I agree, it's a hard expense to justify $10K, and with a young family and without a young family. I mean, $10,000 is a lot of money, and 4.8 seconds is still very quick. You're a BMW 5 Series 6-cylinder, your you name luxury brand with the upgraded V6, you're going faster than most of those. So 4.8 seconds is nothing to snuff at either. So keep that in mind. And then the $2,000 for the acceleration package, we ended up getting like down to 4.24 was the best unconfirmed time that we had, but we broke under 4.3 seconds a couple of times with that acceleration package. Unfortunately, my wife wouldn't let me keep it. I tried to let her drive it for the next 2 days to really get a good feel for it, but she said, gotta go. So is what it is. So if you are considering a performance, maybe the acceleration package for $2,000 would be a reasonable alternative, something to consider. Consumer grade ceramic coating that I could get, and whether or not it was worth my time. Look, I hate to keep promoting my own videos, but check out our video and see what you think. Make your own decision. But a lot of these consumer grade products, some of them are actually really good products. So there's also a lot of crap out there as well. Don't get me wrong, but based on the brand name, that's usually a good indicator as well to help you avoid some of the pitfalls with some of the cheaper stuff that's maybe not as up to the task as claimed. The product that we put on is good for 3+ years. So it's pretty good stuff. It's a 9H hardness, and it's a 2-step process. And that's the other thing. A lot of the ceramic coats you see out there is just a base coat. The one that we did was a base coat and a top coat on top of that, which helps to extend the lifetime of that ceramic coat. So really do some research and figure out what product is right for you, whether it's the one we used or another one. Do as much research as you can about the actual product to make sure it's a good one. So yes, hours of time for a maybe product. Yeah, I think that's fair. You know, you want to, if you're going to put in the time and investment, you want to make sure it's a good product. So hopefully that helps. The iPhone magnet chargers. Yeah, I don't know what all is going to come from this new iPhone with the magnet accessories and things like that. But it'll be interesting to see what kind of mounts and holders are going to come out from that. It's going to be pretty cool. I'm tired of the traditional clamps that we've grown accustomed to over the last 15 years being the same way that you mount a phone. So it'll be cool to see what comes of that. A rock chip in your Model Y, that really sucks. I think there's been at least 2 YouTubers that have had to replace a windshield, and it's very, very expensive, which is no surprise with a brand new car. So good luck to you, Bryson. Good luck to you on the windshield. I feel for you, man. I hope that you saved a couple bucks here and there. Even with insurance, that's not going to be cheap. But covers. I saw those caliper covers. They just look cheap, and I would be afraid they'd fall off while I was driving and just tear up the wheel. I think paint is the way to go. But that's just my opinion, so we'll see. I wouldn't even be able to get my wife to say, yeah. I think most wives wouldn't allow you to consider a performance, but there are some exceptions to that, of course. I live in Iowa. How well does all-wheel drive handle in the winter? So we got our car in April. There was no more snow, so I didn't really get a chance to really winter test it. Somebody did winter test the way up north in their Model Y, and it looked like it did a fantastic job. I will say this, the traction control systems on board on the Tesla Model Y are fantastic. Coupled with the all-wheel drive, you have a very capable vehicle for winter weather, inclement weather, things like that. We've never had a traction issue in this car, nor would I expect it. We do have a very steep driveway, and our driveway faces north, unfortunately, so it never gets sunlight in the winter. So we're going to have a really good opportunity to see how well it works when I'm trying to go up the driveway to park in the garage come winter and snow time. So, but rest assured, the all-wheel drive system in these cars is fantastic. And I would argue there's not many systems out there as sophisticated as the all-wheel drive system in the Tesla lineup across the board. So I think that regardless of how far north you live, I think that Tesla provides an awesome product for all weather applications. Now, the farther north you go, you probably might want to consider maybe a winter set of tires for winter time, but that could add some peace of mind for you as well. Those hard summer tires, like on the performance model, I don't think any all-wheel drive system could overcome some of the winters farther north, like up in Iowa and our friends up in Canada. So anyways, yeah, I still have more fun and already incredible fun vehicle. I agree. Like I said, I don't know. The long-range all-wheel drive, I hate to beat a dead drum here, but an all-wheel drive, long-range all-wheel drive is plenty fast enough. It's a lot of fun every once in a while to really get into it. And then for the rest of the time, you know, just driving it normal. So, and I've never had an issue with getting cut off because somebody was faster than me. And I only have the long-range all-wheel drive. So anyways, I will not, so I have not tinted the front windows. You may have just missed that. I have found a pre-cut product that I've really considered getting, and it's like 30 or 40 bucks, but they charge you like $10 for shipping, which is annoying. I tried reaching out to them. They never responded. So I might go ahead and do it anyways. You're not going to save a ton of money doing it, but you know, it's 50 to 100 bucks you would save, I guess. I don't know how good the product is. I don't know how easy it is to install, but I think we're going to do that and see how well it works. For heat rejection, there have been plenty of tests on the Tesla Model 3 that suggest, regardless of tint, you do not have a very good case in front of you to say you're rejecting heat from building up in the car across the board. So if that's the reason for it, forget it. However, if you're driving and the climate control is on, it will reject heat from coming into the cabin while that climate control is happening. But when it's just sitting outside, those windows can't overcome extended periods of time out in the sun, regardless of how awesome and nanotech this and that is made out of. So something to consider. There are better options if you're really concerned about it, specifically with the roof. There's more than just sunshades now. Now they've got complete covers that will really stop the sun from beating inside of the car. Those would do a better job than just window tint. So something to consider. Dislike about your Model Y. All right, so from a likes, the one thing I would say, if I could only say one thing I like about the Model Y, it would be the comfort of the car. That's my top. That's the number one thing that I like about this car. I don't know how many cars I can think of that are as comfortable as the Model Y. Maybe one other car that I can think of that was very, very comfortable like this, and it was a Volvo. I think it was a Volvo XC60, but it had a very cushy seat, and it was very comfortable. But in this Tesla Model Y, there are few, if any, cars that are as comfortable to sit in as this car. And I can ring the wife bell on that too, because she's very particular in cars. She gets very uncomfortable very quickly and very easily. And she does this a lot, where she's pivoting and moving her weight around in the seat. She just gets uncomfortable over time. She does not do that in this car. And we've done some pretty long road trips. So I think that's a true testament to how comfortable these seats are. Now, I don't know if that's going to lead to these seats wearing out quicker or not. So far, we haven't really noticed anything. But you know, we'll see over time what that translates into. Usually, the more cushion there is, the easier it is for the materials to wear out. So we'll see. So far, so good, though. That's number one like. The number one dislike, if we're talking specifically about mine, I don't know. I don't know. The thing I don't like the most, I don't like the number of service appointments I've had to have to fix the car. Like, it's so, I don't know. I don't want to go too far down this road because I don't want to sound like a naysayer, but it's like, I've gotten to the point, I still have two specific issues that have not been addressed that I should have scheduled months ago, but I'm so over scheduling appointments and over dropping the car off and being without the car for days that, like, I've just like put it off, and I'm dreading the day that I have to finally get it fixed. Like, that is the biggest dislike of this car. And it's unfortunate because it's not necessarily the service center's fault. I think that Tesla really does them a disservice when they don't do a better job of catching and fixing things in line at the factory. They are well better equipped to fix issues and not have this stuff come out from the very beginning, and they just dump it on the service center. So it's kind of unfair to them in that sense. So I think that's my biggest dislike. So hopefully that was a fair answer. But again, there's not another car I would want to drive right now than this Tesla Model Y. It's got the range, it's got the charging, it's super comfortable. It's so easy to just jump in and go. Even if you want to go 1,000 miles, we did it on one of our trips. We just last minute decided, let's just go. I didn't have a charging strategy. We just got in and we left. And there's not another EV on the road that you can do that in. That I know for sure. And that's what I love about this car. So yeah, I am not swapping to winter tires. I have no plan to do that. I never have. I probably never will. We do get very cold winters here, but it's the super cold stuff is limited in its time frame. It's usually January, sometimes into February. And we get, some of the really bad winter storms and stuff. They're like once in 10-year storms. So we've never had to worry about winter tires. Most tires today, the technology in tires has come a long way. And I've never had really an issue. So we will not be doing winter tires. For folks up north, I don't know if you don't have to worry about it anymore. I would suspect if you've been using winter tires, you probably need to continue to use winter tires. But anyways, yes, you did know it. He does want the truck, and I have no idea what the horsepower specs or any of that stuff are on it. But that 2.9 seconds is ridiculous. It's not even the 2.9 seconds. It's the 500 miles of range. In essence, you are getting an SUV that can also work as a truck on the weekends, that can travel to Florida from Indiana where we are, which is our favorite trip to take. And I can do that with a 500-mile range battery pack. I think it's going to have like a 185 kilowatt hour battery pack. It's going to be massive, right? But what's cool about that is if it is indeed using these new battery cells, it seems like you're going to be able to get a lot more range per minute of charging than what we're used to today. So filling up that 500 miles, perhaps it'll be just as long as it is to do 300 miles today. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for. And regardless, I mean, that can really change things on the highway. I can't imagine you'd be going more than 400 miles on 100% at 80 miles an hour. I can't think that that's possible. But the other thing is it's got very chunky tires on it, and that's going to kill the efficiency of the truck. But we'll see in real life and practicality what it actually does. But I'm very, very excited about it. I have not ordered it yet because I keep telling myself that I shouldn't. But yeah, I don't know. I'm probably going to break down and do it here very soon. We'll see. Anyways, yes, the Cybertruck. If it wasn't so ugly, it wouldn't be such a hard decision. So the Mach-E or the Volkswagen being a serious competitor, I don't think it's an or. I think it's more of an and. I think the Mach-E 100% is going to be a competitor. I think it's going to be the first decent competitor. I don't know how decent of a competitor, but it will be a decent competitor. The Volkswagen is an interesting one too. I think that they missed the boat on range though, and I think that's going to hurt them. Other than that, I think that it's a great looking car. I think it's a very practical car, and the price sounds like it's going to be really good. So I think both of those cars are going to be reasonable alternatives. But again, I think there's still too much in the way of getting people to adopt into an EV world. So for Tesla, they can easily overcome that because they say we have the Tesla supercharging network. Volkswagen can't say that. Ford can't say that. And so they're going to be pulling from people who have not had an EV or people who have that understand what those limitations are going to be. So, but I am excited to see it. The more the merrier, the more competition, the better. Like the new battery cells. This is what's so great about Tesla, right? The GM is trying to launch cars, or Volkswagen, they're launching cars that have range that Tesla had how many years ago, right? And then not only that, Tesla comes out and one-ups it and says, all right, well, here's what's coming next, and it's going to be here in a couple years. As a matter of fact, next year, we're going to go ahead and start our first car on those batteries. And it's just like the gap continues to grow. And it's unfortunate that all these manufacturers did not take Tesla seriously from the very beginning, because they would be way farther than they are today had they done that. So, but I think that those are the two real competitors. You know, the other cars that are available today, they don't have the range. And because there's not a real fast charging infrastructure to get you long distance, why would you get it, right? So the only case that you have is if you're never going to travel long distance. So how many folks tie up that kind of money and not have the ability to go? Like if I wanted to drive up to Purdue for a football game and tailgate and do all this stuff and then come back, I don't have to worry about charging. With that Volkswagen ID, I would have to worry about that. And that's not very far. So all those types of things are going to weigh on consumers' minds, and ultimately consumers will decide. But I think that the Mach-E has the range, has the price, potentially eventually might get the charging infrastructure, but I'm excited to see it. I think it looks pretty good, honestly, especially for a Ford. I'm not even a Ford guy, but I think it looks pretty decent. They could have come up with a better name, but anyways, the quick video updates. Yeah, I'm killing you with them. I think that they're awesome. I try to get, whenever news breaks, I try to get it out there as quickly as possible within reason. If I can do it, I will do it. And I just like getting that content out there to continue to get you guys relevant information as quick as possible. And many times we're the first ones to get some of this news out there. And I pride myself on being able to do that when we do. So I appreciate the shout out there, but do you have a phrase that you say to passengers before you punch it, like as a warning? No, because right now the only passengers I have are my wife and the kids, and usually what it consists of is our oldest 4-year-old. He says something like he wants to go fast, and then I look at the wife and we smile, and then we go fast. And then they're laughing in the back, and then I'm like, all right, now we gotta go, and they say again, and then before you know it, I'm searching feverishly for cops because we're speeding too much. So I don't have a phrase yet, but I really want to get a camera in the car, and I want to trick my mom because this is way out of her element. Hopefully she's not watching right now, but I really want to get her in the car, and I just want to do it out of nowhere just to see the reaction on her face. But I doubt I can trick her into it. But that's definitely on the list of things I'm trying to get done. So we'll see. We'll see. I probably won't have a phrase for that either. But service center, yeah. So Nate, it sounds like you agree. The service center is the #1 dislike. They are the worst. I think it's very market specific too. They seem to be hiring people that don't have mechanic background, which makes sense. It's a tech company. So I think they're struggling to get really qualified technicians into these service centers, which is a challenge. So these guys, they have no interest in working on Teslas, right? So it's a different demographic that they're pulling from for the bulk of their employee base for these service centers. And I think that that's coming at the expense of the customer experience. So it is unfortunate. But you're right. The car is amazing. Service is bad. It's just that simple, right? I can't think of another car I'd rather have. Anyways, yeah, keeping it honest, keeping it real, 100%. We try very hard to be as authentic and as honest as possible on this channel. We will continue to be doing that. That is a very core piece of the brand that we have, and we don't want to do anything that would jeopardize that, and nor will we do anything to jeopardize that. So I appreciate the comment, and that will continue. It gets on, including furnace filters. I'm not sure what that means. Oh, painting the rotors. Yeah, you got to protect everything when you do that. There's actually an epoxy kit that you brush on that you don't spray on. So I think it's a safer way to apply a paint rather than from a rattle can, I think is what you're referring to about everything getting everywhere, including the filters and all that stuff. So the epoxy kit that I've identified is a brush-on application. It goes on super thick and helps to smooth out the paint. So we will be doing that eventually. Whenever I have time, essentially, we will be doing that, and we'll share that here on the channel. So yeah, I appreciate it, Jim. Nice comments, really appreciate it. You tinted your first Mustang, and you didn't tell me you hired out your Subarus, paying for a good job. Okay, I was gonna say, so you did the tint job yourself, but you didn't tell me how it went. But I read your second comment. You hired out for your Subarus and the others to pay for a good job. So gotcha. Yeah, there's actually a technique involved. Glass is not straight and flat, so you actually have to stretch the material. So in practice or in theory, I think I know what that means, but I guess only time will tell. Because I am going to spend the $30 plus shipping to try it, because I think it would be fun just to try it. The only downfall of that is if it goes well and it looks good and I think it works and I recommend that, and in 6 months it sucks and it's falling apart, I'm going to feel really bad about that. So I've got to make sure I have plenty of asterisks in that particular video when I do it, because I would hate for this thing 6 months later to not look as awesome as it does when it goes up. Now, it is a ceramic product. It's not a carbon product, so it should technically be top-notch stuff, but we'll see. Anyways, but yeah, Edward, thanks for the good laugh. I like that, that you can be honest about that. I'm the same way. It's pretty funny. But anyways, listen, guys, last thing that we were going to talk about, I guess for some reason this caused a controversy. We did launch memberships on the channel. It is 100% optional. It does not have any impact on the experience that you have on the channel. However, if you wanted a more intimate, kind of like what we're doing here, experience with the channel, there's going to be more behind the scenes type stuff and more access more than anything. We're also going to be doing giveaways and stuff, and those are going to be exclusive to the memberships moving forward. So we'll be doing stuff like that. It is 100% an option. It is not required. It does not have any impact on anything on this channel other than giving you access to additional perks should you decide. We're not going to be rolling in the dough or making bank on memberships. It's just something that we thought, with some of the feedback that we've been getting and some of the direct messages we've been getting, we thought we would offer the option, and that is it. It's just an option, but we're going to try to come up with some good perks to make it at least worth your while. So giveaways will be happening. The first giveaway will be a center console cover. So we're going to be doing that here this month, and then we'll figure out a frequency and the type of giveaways that we'll be doing, but they'll be Tesla specific. So it'll be fun, and we'll have member specific live streams. We might do some off YouTube streaming too, so that there can be two-way communication, which would be fun. I'd really love to hear from you guys too. If you ever see me on a supercharger, by the way, say hi. I actually enjoy talking to people. We had our first interaction with a fan this last week, and it was a lot of fun. So we'll be going on some road trips here soon. So if you see me, don't be afraid to say hi. I'd love to hear from you. I love hearing from you guys. And those of you that do reach out, I do appreciate it. None of this would be possible without you guys, and I completely recognize and totally appreciate that. And my wife and I are very grateful for the successes that we have had so far, and it's because of you guys, and we are beyond appreciative of that. So with that said, I really appreciate you guys joining us today for the live stream, and it's been a great ride. It's been a great adventure, and we are looking forward to everything that's to come. Regardless of the drama that happened on Sunday, I appreciate those of you who did reach out in support. You guys are the best, and I really, really appreciate it. So thank you all for joining us, and we look forward to the next episode every Friday at 8 a.m. So we will see you there. And hello from the Philippines. Actually, from work, we've been talking about the Philippines a lot lately, just so you know, with work. So thank you guys so much. Have a good evening, and we'll catch you next time.